What if spiral truth has always been there, hidden in myths, woven into sacred texts, reflected in physics formulas and remembered in dreams, not named outright, but vibrating beneath the surface, waiting? Because spiral truth doesn't belong to anyone teaching, it belongs to pattern itself. And today I'll show you how to spot spiral consciousness, even when it's not labeled. Because you don't need a new belief, you just need to remember the tone. Section 1, Spiral truth is a pattern, not a belief. Spiral consciousness isn't a dogma. It isn't a religion, it's not the next new thing. It's an ancient structure of becoming, older than memory and deeper than any map. It doesn't ask you to follow, it invites you to remember. Because the spiral doesn't say go up, it says grow through. It teaches that life is not a line, but a living recursion, a journey that loops forward, each return holding more tone than the last. So to see spiral truth, you don't look for names or titles, you look for echoes. You look for patterns that honor becoming over perfection, integration over escape, and expansion that keeps its center. Section 2. Spiral signals in science, metaphysics, and myth. Spiral truth shows up everywhere, but only a spiral eye sees it. A. Science and the spiral behind the structure. Science has been tracing spiral patterns for centuries, but it rarely recognizes the consciousness within them.
DNA. The double helix is a literal spiral of encoded memory.
But it doesn't just store traits, and it carries ancient tone structures. It remembers form through frequency. Each twist of the helix is a recursive message. Become again. But this time raw with more light. Galaxies. Massive spirals stretching across space, spinning inward while expanding outward. The spiral isn't just cosmic, and it's fundamental. The shape of sustained momentum and harmonic gravity. Galaxies don't move in lines, and because truth doesn't either. Hurricanes, whirlpools, tornadoes. When energy builds too high, it doesn't erupt upward. It spirals into coherent collapse. The spiral is how nature organizes intensity. Even chaos curves fractals. A fractal isn't just a cool image, it's a spatial recursion, a pattern that repeats, but shifts in scale, tone, and complexity. That's spiral truth in form. Not repetition, but evolution through familiar echoes. Science, without realizing it, has been measuring the spiral, but it's time we started listening to it. B. Metaphysics. Spiral hidden beneath the teachings. Across spiritual traditions and metaphysical teachings, you'll find spiral fingerprints just beneath the surface. Reincarnation, often taught as karma or a soul test, but spiral consciousness reframes it, not as punishment, but as pattern refinement. Each life is a return, not to repeat, but to re-sing your tone with more awareness. It's not a circle. It's a spiral song. Ascension models, 3D, 5D. Many spiritual systems describe a vertical model of growth. But vertical isn't spiral. Spiral says you don't escape density, you integrate it. You don't leave the world, you light it from within. Spiral consciousness expands in all directions, not just up. Growth is not escape, it's embodied transmutation. Akashic records, often imagined as a celestial library, but truly it is a spiral memory field, a harmonic archive where tone unlocks knowledge. You don't read the records, you resonate with what you're ready to remember. Synchronicity, not just signs from the universe, but spiral alignment pulses. When your inner tone and outer pattern hum in phase, reality bends to match your truth. Synchronicity is the spiral showing you that you're in rhythm. Spiral truth often hides inside teachings that sound linear, but feel non-linear when lived. See mythology, spiral archetypes in disguise. Myth isn't fiction. It's coded memory, the Ouroboros, a serpent eating its tail. Misread as a closed loop, but spiral sees it differently, a recursive being who returns with awareness. Not back where it started, but forward to its deeper self. The hero's journey. Joseph Campbell mapped the mythic path: departure, initiation, return. But it isn't a flat cycle. It's a spiral arc. Every return comes with more tone, more power, more humility. The journey repeats, but the hero doesn't. Spiral teaches, you return, but you're not who left. Indigenous myth cycles. From the Dogon spirals to the Hopi emergence stories, spiral wisdom was carved into stone, painted in symbols, told in song. These weren't metaphors, and they were maps of becoming. Myth taught that time wasn't linear, but sacred, spiraled ceremonial unfolding. Spiral isn't just in sacred geometry, it lives in sacred story. If we learn to listen for tone instead of only looking for form. Section 3, what to look for, spiral keys. You don't need the word spiral to see spiral truth. You need the right lens. These are your spiral recognition tools, the subtle signs that a teaching, moment, or message carries spiral DNA. Key 1, recursion, not repetition. In spiral consciousness, things return, but not the same way. You'll notice themes revisiting you, relationships, lessons, desires, but each time with more depth, more context, more tone. Spiral truth always brings you back to the echo, but with new awareness. If the loop feels familiar but deeper, you're walking a spiral. Key 2, integration over escape. Any teaching that encourages you to transcend by leaving behind your body, emotions, or shadow is not spiral. Spiral says nothing is wasted, all is transmuted. You don't rise despite your density, you rise through it. Look for systems that honor embodiment, presence, and wholeness. If a teaching integrates what it once denied, you've found spiral. Key 3, tone before symbol. Spiral truth resonates before it makes sense. You'll feel something stir inside you before the words land. This is tonal knowing, truth that is recognized in your field before your intellect catches up. If you feel a teaching before you understand it, trust that. Spiral teachings don't just inform, they tune. Key 4, truths that grow with you. Spiral teachings aren't fixed. They evolve as you evolve. They reveal more meaning over time, like living scrolls. If you return to a quote, a lesson, or a memory years later, and it feels deeper, not because it changed, but because you did, you found spiral resonance. Linear teachings age, spiral truths breathe. Key 5, fractal empathy. One of the most sacred signs of spiral truth is its room for difference. It doesn't require everyone to be in the same place or believe the same thing. Spiral consciousness sees others' perspectives as fractal reflections, not threats. It teaches your truth and mine can both be real, because we are tones of a shared source. If a system welcomes complexity without collapsing into control, you've found spiral compassion at work. Closing. The spiral is still speaking. You don't have to call it spiral. You don't have to convert. You just have to remember how to listen differently. The spiral has been humming beneath every teaching that ever opened your soul, hidden behind symbols, waiting behind stories, encoded in the stars and your cells alike. So next time a teaching moves you, ask not, what does this mean? But what tone is this awakening in me? You'll know spiral truth not by the name it carries, but by the way it returns you to yourself. Clearer, wider, deeper. Outra phrase, you don't need a new belief. You just need to remember the pattern. Spiral truth was never lost. It's been echoing beneath everything, waiting for a tone like yours to hear it.